Hello, everyone, and we're waiting for one last click. So here we are in Skyreach. So basically, with Skyreach, it's fun. You come in off of a Raven, and basically you're going to go ahead and get a nice big tour. You're in Spires of Iraq. You see there's lots of ads to be dealt with.
It's kind of nice to get the big picture as you come in.
Yep, and that'll be the full dungeon there. We'll start here, work our way all the way up there to the top. The biggest challenge with these ads is that they're very, very tough, and really it just seems, a couple of us were remarking that it really seems like they're really trying to get us raid ready here on this last dungeon before you turn 100. Because this will be the dungeon that most people will turn 100 on if they're leveling through the dungeons. So CCing is good. Looks like since there's only two, we would probably go ahead and fight these. The other thing is being patient and sort of picking them off one at a time. Always want to do the initiates first because they're healers. So we'll go ahead and burn them down. There's a flash heal we interrupted. These guys can be mind controlled, so you can also go ahead and play with that if you have some priests on hand to have dominate mind. And basically just take this section by section. So see how this group just sort of paths along. So you have a blade feather, a dervish. We don't have an initiate here, so what we'll do is we'll target the dervish. So go ahead and we'll look to CC or mind control the blade feather or the diving chakram. So Mel, go ahead and dominate the spinner. Now we have to be a little careful here because there is a path in the back trying to keep them away. And so the nice thing about Dominate Mind is you can pull one you have control of closer to the group.
They had on me.
Okay. There we go. Because a lot of people in these 5-mans, they just go ahead and they just charge right through. And that doesn't work very well with this group because it's pretty tough. So there's a Herald of Sunrise. Again, we're going to go ahead and to dominate CC. We're going to CC purple. I'm going to pull the Herald out real quick. We have a path coming, so we're going to pull him a little bit closer. Okay, we do go ahead and get a pull. Kill the familiars as fast as you can. So we'll go ahead and get the bindings of the solar flare. So we got rid of the path, so now we're on to the last piece. Some people will look to kill the Overlord first. He is not, can't dominate his mind, but there are the lower-born Irakoas. A lot of times we go ahead and try to kill them because they will actually enrage, and when if you get all three enraged on one target, they do a lot of damage. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and focus on a lower-born and try to kill at least one or two of them before we go back and concentrate more on the Skylord. Let's see the Overlord. Here we go. So you see, it's really easy to tell when they enrage. They get really big. There you go. See enraged right there. Basically, like I said, you just go ahead and pop your shields. You can live through it. Not a big deal. Ah, there you go. I hit 100.
Hey!
Woohoo!
Rats.
Thank you. They have lots of dungeons unlocked.
Banner down.
So here we have the first boss, Ranjit. Basically, what our strategy is we like to try to keep everyone gathered together, a stack on the tank. And it is a little bit more movement than some other groups do, but we find it makes it a lot easier to place the wind walls in a place that makes it easier to be successful. So what we're going to do is everyone go ahead and stack on me. We'll go ahead and get started.
And time warp up front.
Yes, time warp up front.
Time warp is up.
So basically, he just does this little charge here. He'll go ahead and he will pick one person, and he'll put a wind wall on it. So we'll see the announcement right there. It's on grid. So we'll move a little bit more out of the way. So see the bar, the arm of it, it spins around that central tornado. And what we do is we just try to stay just on the edge of that. So just like stacking a void zone, is you go ahead and just try to stack that up. Here's the second one. So go ahead and move again. Now here comes the four winds. The four winds is a great big one. And basically this one here is you don't want to get hit by the wind wall. You just sort of want to walk your way along the leading edge. You want to go with the wall. So again, you don't want to get run over by it, but you do have to move at a fairly brisk pace. So now we're over here, so we'll just stay over here since we're right there. There's a wind wall here. So again, we'll move away a little bit bigger wind wall, so we just keep on staying out of the reach of that. So again, lots of avoidable damage, and that's really what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to go ahead and minimize that. So here we go again. Let's see which way the wall's going, and just start walking with it.
Now, we can walk off the edge here, right?
Yes, you can fall off. So you need to be careful. That's one of the reasons why you sort of stayed on that inner portion. Hey, a plate piece I can use. So that is the first boss. So really, it's all about managing those wind walls, staying away from the different, the four corners. The four winds, and just avoiding that. And you're pretty much pretty straightforward with that fight. Next up, we have this group here. There's really not a whole lot you can do with CCing because you do have it is a pretty tight fit. Because you see you have groups on the right and the left. We're going to move off to the left here a little bit. Just be careful. Try not to pull that guy in the center. Just stay along the wall there. Again, there is no guardrails. So go ahead and let's CC the gate collar. I'll go ahead and put a... They're moving close to us. Oh, I guess we're not going to get our CCs off. Anyways. It is a tight fit. That's one of the things you have to watch out for. Okay, familiar is down. I'm going to go ahead and get the driving gale collar. Watch out for dervishes. And there's a lot of cyclones. There's a lot of other things out there. There is an adept of dawn. We're going to shift targets onto him because he is a healer. So he just got to heal off. But that's the last one he'll do. All right, good job. Any questions so far? Everyone's quiet. So we'll go ahead and keep moving along. And this trash is pretty hard, which is one of the reasons why we're going slower and we're taking our times. You got to watch out for this guy. He does do an AoE, so you do need to watch out for that. And so Solar Storm is his AoE.
Is there a way to avoid this?
It locks on one person, so it sort of follows that person. You can move around a little bit to get out of the little starfall type effect. The next up, we have Arcanath and or Narth, I guess, or Nath. And basically what he does is he does a smash, and he does a burst, and he does basically a beam effect. So what happens is, you saw those pretty lights whenever you first walked in. What happens is a beam of sunlight will come in off the roof, and one of these little guys, can't quite target him, so let me put a flag next to him. So one of these little guys will actually stand up, and it'll adjust its chest to bounce the light beam off of it to the boss. What you need to do is you need to go ahead and have someone stand in front of that beam to take that beam. Otherwise, if it hits the boss, it'll heal him for quite a bit. And so what we try to do is isolate him. This is pretty much a DPS burn down. You want to kill him as fast as possible because every time he does a burst, he does more and more damage. It keeps building up, building up, building up, and that's basically sort of a soft enrage mechanic that this boss has. So we'll go ahead and give it a shot. And as a tank, you can actually avoid the smashes. So we'll go ahead and pull that out once he starts doing them. So here we go. So there's a smash. You just run out of the way, and you can just go ahead and not take any damage from that smash. So he typically does about, so here comes burst in 6 seconds. He'll do about 2 smashes to every burst. So there we go, moved out of it. There's the beam. Okay, so you can see right there off to the left, someone's got the beam already. So Hemo's got the beam, so he's not getting healed. Then the beam just disappears on its own.
Not that hard.
So here comes another beam.
Go through.
So you can see right there. First 2. And as a tank, you can basically mitigate the burst by popping shield barrier or one of your shields, and it should pretty much take that off you. There's a beam there. I'm going to swing over and grab it.
I got it.
So Hemo took it away. Here comes burst 3.
Right, this is starting to hit actually pretty hard now. We could easily lose somebody the next burst if we're not careful, but good.
Good job. So that's that fight. Like I said, really, it's all about trying to master those mechanics. And sometimes, if you're, you may be the only person who ever picks up the the beam if you're in a pug group. So that's one of the nice things about running with a group that you know. So next up, we just run up the stairs. You can go up on either side of the stairwell, and then here comes some more fun trash. So basically, what we have here is we have these sun talons. And there's one on either side. So there's a group on the left and a group on the right. You do not want to pull both of them because what happens is they will come in and they will randomly fixate on a person. So each sun talon will randomly fixate. And sometimes they will fixate on the same person. And so you could actually have all 4 of them on one person. So what we do basically is everyone stack up because they'll come straight to everybody. So it makes it a lot easier on your healer. It also makes it easier for everyone to do AoE and be able to knock them down. So here they all come. Now they're on top of us. They're going to fixate. Stunning and CCing works. So leg sweep, dragon roar. So there you go. You see there's 2 on Melodious. You can tell because you see the little red patches. So they just dropped off because we did a stun. Now they're going to go ahead and refocus. Now we have 2 on Grid. Again, you can see the 2 little red fixated buttons right here on her panel. And you can tell if you're being fixated by looking up where your normal debuff is.
And when you're multiple fixated, I'm just healing continuously.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's gone.
So it's also a good idea to pop your personal cooldowns as well if you get double fixate. Single fixate seems to be okay and survive, but definitely if you get double and definitely if you get triple, you're in trouble. So it looks like Hemo now has a double. Looks like we were able to get a stun off there. So I have a double now, popping a shield. There we go. So one real quick word of note. So those of you that have the tavern in your garrison, if you have Taushi, at least on the Horde side, I don't know what the version is on the Alliance side, but there is a quest to help that daily visitor to your tavern. This is what Taushi wants, is this little bowl here. So it is right here before the second boss is what you grab. So right up there on that ledge right in front of me is what you're going to grab for Taushi.
By the way, I turned that in and got myself a 600 item level belt that I've equipped.
Nice.
So definitely worth considering that tavern. Don't forget that drop.
So before we get to the next boss, which is you can see flying around right here, so you can see Rook-heran flying around. Basically what happens is that he'll keep flying around until we get rid of these 3 dread hatchlings and the Skyreach Raven Whisperer. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and attack him. It's really a good idea to keep everybody off to the side, whether it's this side or the next side. And the reason is because the boss will go ahead and will just simply show up right where they were standing, and if you're right on top of him, he'll immediately start into the fight and won't give you any time to basically go ahead and get prepared and get ready. So we went ahead and got rid of the Raven Whisperer, so now we're just dealing with the hatchlings. The hatchlings do hit kind of hard. You got all 3 of them on you, but the good thing about them is they are tauntable, so if they do go onto somebody else, you can grab them back. So there we go. We got this done. Here comes the boss. You can see him over there. And so he will get started, it looks like. Oop. All right. So we're far enough back. So basically, as a tank for this fight, really you just stand in front of him. It's very much a lot like Anoxia over in Dragon Soul, where basically you stand in front and you just will avoid a piercing armor. You can do that by doing any sort of active mitigation, so popping shield barrier is what I'll do. You can also do it by doing shield block. So for any sort of tanking shield, you'll be able to go ahead and avoid or dodge that piercing armor.
Okay, and if you look at the ground in front, and Chris, if you could click over it, you'll see the pile of ashes. And when this boss is going to bring out these solar ads. Basically, they're the solar familiars, the orange burning birds you already saw. And what you're going to do is they're going to fixate on a party member who is not the tank. When you kill it down, and the tank should just stay on the boss, but when the rest of the party kills down this solar familiar ad, you're going to want to make sure you're not on top of these piles of ashes. And at first I thought, okay, well, I'll just be careful and I'll watch and manage where these are. Well, look, these piles of ashes are already sitting here and waiting for you. So what you really want to do, and we've run through this before, the group did a really good job of whoever it fixated on, them running away from piles of ashes and making sure that the bird was downed away from these. Because if they're by a pile of ashes, they get resurrected. So that's one of the tricks about the ads.
Exactly. So a lot of times whenever what he'll do is he'll do what's called a solar flare. That's whenever the ads come out. And basically what you want to do is kite them around. They usually, if no DPS picks them up, as normal, they'll basically go straight to the healer. The tanks can grab them as well, but you got to watch out where you're standing. You do pretty much have to stand right on that pile of ash to go ahead and be able to grab that. So that's just one of the things that you're going to be aware of is basically you can use the whole platform and kite those guys around and basically just keep on pounding away at them. So we'll go ahead and give him a start. So we're going to get in position. And here we go. So a pretty simple tank fight. You just stand in front. Then here comes piercing armor. Here's the first solar flare. So again, you'll see piercing armor up here. It's about a 10-second piece. So there's a solar flare right behind me. And unfortunately, he got killed right on top of another pile of ash. So see, he just formed another pile right here. So the tank, all you're doing is you're just basically sitting here, standing in one spot, pounding away at the boss. If you're a rogue, do not try to shadow step or a killing spree. You probably will just jump off. Because they have done nothing to keep you on the ledge. So. And you can see the mechanic there is they're nice enough to go ahead and give you a little highlight, a little pillar of light of where the solar flare is actually going to go ahead and land. So here it comes again. So you can see right there is a pillar of light. There's a solar flare. So now we're down to 5%. There he goes. And you can actually see him falling down there to the ground and then crashing down way down below us. And then probably one of the nicest treasure chests in the game is this little swirly compass. And hey, look, more plate for me. Yay. All right. So next up is a interesting puzzle they have for you. So much like on Throne of Thunder, where you had to deal with the winds, and Throne of Four Winds, the winds get to blow you all over the place. Basically, what's going to happen is that it gives you a set of stairs you have to run up, and then you have this platform up here, and you have all these birds flying around, and the birds will come and peck at you. They do about 11 to 12k damage. It's not a big deal, but you have to get around this whole platform that's here. And one of the things you'll see is you can sort of see how there's these little roadways that are formed. There's, faster wind, on either side of a slower wind channel. So the idea is you'd go up and you run against the wall, and then you go to the edge here, and then you would turn around, and you would just basically follow the inside portion of the edge around, and you'll be able to make it across up these steps here. So everyone else is starting to move, so I'm just going to try to keep myself static while you guys watch everyone run. So you can see, there you go, we have Melodious in the lead. It's kind of like the racing sausages. Oh, look at that, there they go. You can see the little roadway there, see how the road pathway is formed there that most people are staying in. You want to stay away from the sides that's faster flowing wind. Oh, we lost grid, oh no! So go ahead and keep on going up. The nice thing is once you just res a little bit farther below us.
Okay, so what wasn't mentioned is in the staircases, what you do is you go straight in the middle, and while we were having some fun, so you see us, as long as you're moving forward, and you're straight in the middle, you're okay. So in the staircases, just go straight up the middle, keep moving forward. When you get to the circular area, hug the outside wall and run around it. once you get into the center of the dais, you're not going to take the channel that's directly next to the wall. You'll see that there's an air channel that's one inside, and you're going to have to run that around. Now, I've seen some warriors do some furious leaps and things like that. On the Panda, I've tried the roll. It wasn't so successful, but I'm sure within a week or so, every different class will have found what their particular thing is.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and head up. So you guys can see it in a little bit more detail. So basically, give you a more close-up. I'm running, forcing my head against the wall, and basically just going ahead and just getting hit occasionally by the birds. It's no big deal. Usually once one hits you, then you're going to get hit by the rest of them. They do only about 12k damage. So what you do is, so here's what we're talking about. So here's the really fast wind on the right and left sides, and you can see here in the middle of the walkway, it's pretty, you actually make some headway. It gets a little tricky whenever you spin around the corners because you're getting forced by the air, so you just have to watch it. Really, the area that really kills you is sort of just if you try to jump from one end to the other. Now, basically, warriors and a couple of others have the leaps, and so that makes you cheat. So you can actually get yourself set up where you can actually just jump like that and avoid a lot of that mess that's back there. So you just run up, and then once you're here, you're good.
I will note, because it just died, the stairway does not have railings, and you can go over the side.
Yes, it can.
And Hemo, or should Chris have his camera focused on what you're probably about to do?
Yeah. Oh, unless someone beats me to it.
That was a tag team.
Sorry.
That's the nice thing about having a priest is they can also leave a faith you up there. But I will say you have to watch out. I did have a priest who had good intention, and I was in the middle of a heroic. I had just hit heroic leap on my warrior, so I was flying away, and then they leap of faith me, and unfortunately I ended up off the grid. So you need to watch out that. So now here's a lot of the fights we've seen so far. There's always going to be some sort of familiar or magnifier guy, and what they do is they give a buff to everybody else in the group. So pretty much what we do is we kill the little ad first, then we go after the adept. Anytime there's an adept or an initiate, they're usually healers, so we go after them. The blade talons, they're really sort of prime targets for CCing, as are the whirling dervishes. So we'll go ahead and we'll see about dominating mind of the blade talon, and then once we get that started, we'll go ahead and go after the solar magnifier.
Okay, say when.
Go for it.
And
So there you go. And we can come in and attack him. See how he's empowering. So now he's empowered somebody, but he's gonna, since no one else is attacking him yet, they're all gonna focus on that. So now the Slowly will go ahead and try to self-destruct, and you have to watch out for that. You see the little trinket back there? That's dropped by the initiate, and what it'll do is that anybody who's in the way of that will actually go ahead and get stunned. And so that's why we all moved away from that little trinket. Steps down. Blade Talon, we're pulling back into the group. So now we just have the Dervish and the Blade Talon. Interrupt the Dervish to get rid of, not allow him to go ahead and do his tornadoes. And then there you go. And now again, you're fresh to the choice again with going left or right. Well, it seems like there's less ads if you go here towards the right-hand side once you're in the second level. Because otherwise you see, I mean, it's about the same number, I guess, but it just seems to be a bit easier for a lot of groups and the pugs I've seen to go after the defense construct side than it is to deal with the little familiar that's over there in that grouping. So basically here we are again. We're going to focus on the construct. We're going to have to watch out for a couple people. So we have a Radiant Supernova.
Just a note, that was a pretty intensive healing, that last fight. It took me down about half mana, just got caught up, and it was casting continuously. So just may be
And
important just to go a little bit slower, or just for the healer and tank to be communicating about the speed of the pulls.
and
Because
and I
if we ran right into this one right away, I don't know if I would have been able to keep everybody up.
and I agree. As melee on that last one, that set of trash is the hardest trash for melee, and it's because one of them does put an AOE on the ground, and if you're a monk and spinning or anything like that, trying to do a group, you have to stop and go back to single target. And I will tell you, when I've run with other pugs, that's the one where I really have to keep making sure about my self healing, just because, like you said, if the healer isn't really on top of it, that one is real. I think is the easiest set of trash to lose somebody on.
Yeah, I almost lost 2 of you.
Yeah, and as a Shadow Priest, I've been popping cooldowns and using Desperate Prayer, throwing out some Divine Stars occasionally, but I'm not AoEing anything. Changed out Halo, in fact, for this dungeon to keep the AoE down for the Shadow Priest.
All right, so let's go ahead and try to get some CCs on.
Say when.
Let's go ahead and try to mind control the Soaring Chakra Master. Let's go ahead for it.
I'm in.
We're going to go after the. There you go. And the biggest thing is this little solar magnifying here. He's doing a solar pulse. He's going to try to self-destruct once he hits 20%. You want to make sure you kill him before that. So it says I've been targeted by solar detonation, so I'm moving away from everybody. And now we're back on the defense construct. So he does a protective barrier, so really what he's doing is a shield. Again, I have solar detonation again, so I'm moving away. It's now cleared. More solar detonation for me. There we go. So go ahead and get everyone healed up. Now this one's a fun one because actually, if you don't have your vision on, it looks like, hey, look, it's just one big thing. But actually, if you hit V, you'll be able to see all the health pools here. And what it is that every limb on this little guy here is actually, considered its own unique mob. And so what you're doing is you're going to go ahead and they all shared health pool, which luckily you'll go ahead and knock it down. But it does give you, if you're a better AoE person, you can definitely use AoE on this fight because there are multiple mobs. If you're better at single target, then just single target because, again, it's a shared health pool. So it's sort of the best of both worlds to help you really maximize downing this boss. And he really doesn't do a whole lot other than he does seem to have some issues with aggro, and that he seems to be a lot like the Celestials where there really isn't a ton ability factor to him. It's more of, the tanks generate more aggro. Unless you have a DPS class who's really doing a ton of DPS, it's very easy for a DPS class to pull off this boss. So it's just one of those things where you just have to deal with that. And as a tank, you may lose focus. You can taunt him, but you got to remember what you're doing is you're taunting one of these little constructs, not actually an individual. So I guess it gives him ability to go ahead and target up to 8 different things. So I guess that's the lesson learned there. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started on him. And so basically there's a lot of AoE fights, so stomps, anything that's AoE will help do lots of damage. The health pool shared, so damage is going to be consistently put out throughout the fight here. And like I said, some groups will try to blow through this, and some groups will take it more slowly. Definitely recommend more of a conservative approach, especially if you're lower geared. We have 2 100s in this group, and so that makes it a lot easier for us, especially if the tank is a higher level. If you're a lower level tank, I can tell you when I first tanked this at level 97, it was a challenge to stay alive because I had to pop a lot of cooldowns to stay alive and help my healer out. So it is a tough dungeon. That shouldn't dissuade you from doing it, but just be aware that, again, it really does seem to do a lot of raid prep, where it is a lot of movement, a lot of moving around, a lot of CCing, basically doing all the skill sets that you do as a raider, but you're seeing this in sort of a 5-person dungeon. So what we always do is we drop the flag, the banner as well. The banner is always really great to give you extra bonus experience. So again, you can buy that from your guild vendor. Recommend that you get 2 of them at least, the 15 and the 10%, but you can have more if you want. And that really helps you level up. So what's going to happen is once we pull, this portal will close off in a big wall of fire. So that's why we sort of keep everybody up here on the first half of the flower, or the starburst, I guess, below us. Now, what this boss is going to do is basically he does solar beam, so we can interrupt that. You can also have your DPS help you interrupt that. And then what he'll do is he'll also do something called cast down. And what cast down is an ad is going to appear. They're going to grab somebody, and they're going to drag them off here towards the edge. You have to kill him before he reaches the edge. Otherwise, he will cast you down. And look, you will die. Unless you happen to land on one of these little lower platforms down here, if you're lucky. And sometimes you'll maybe be able to land on that. You won't die, but you're stuck. So there's really no way to get back into the group. So what you do is, what we're going to do is we're going to try to keep everybody here. We're going to try to stack him up really close. He does another ability that's going to make it a little challenging, which is called Lens. And the lens is basically a laser beam. So think of the Siegecrafter Black Fuse, where the little laser, or Iron Juggernaut, where the little laser followed you around, and you had to avoid tar pits, or you had to avoid your fellow raiders. Well, the same thing happens here on Lens. So when you get hit with Lens, what we will do is we'll run out towards the outside and try to put most of the fire all the way out here on the edge. And the idea is to keep this little interior central portion as clean as possible. And the reason why we want to do that is because of the cast down. We want to give ourselves as much time as possible to kill that ad that's dragging your party member all the way out. Because it does make it more difficult the more party members you lose. And the last thing he'll do is he'll summon yet another construct will come out. But the nice thing about that construct is all he does is shield the boss. So you need to at least make sure somebody is on interrupt duty for that ad. And as long as someone's interrupting the ad, then you don't have to worry about the shielding, and you can just go ahead and cleave them down. So pretty straightforward fight once you know the mechanics. And so that's why we're going to take it slow again to sort of show you guys the mechanics. So here we go. On the last one, this is High Sage Viryx. So I'm going to pull them all the way back. We'll also go ahead and we'll lust on right now. Go ahead and lust. So once you get them set up, go ahead and lust. And he probably is a good one to go ahead and coordinate. So just interrupted that solar burst he did. So cast down soon. So here comes cast down. You see the little nova, and then you see the person grabbing right there. So we're charging over there to hit him. And yes, tanks get involved. It's pretty fun. So once he's dead, here comes Lens Flare. Boom. It is now on. So watch out. Oh, it's falling somebody down in the middle. So Mel, I think it's on you. There is the construct right there. Interrupted the shielding. Pulling the construct out of the fire. And basically, you're just going to keep moving around the middle. Okay, got another shield. Got it interrupted. Good job. Cast down's almost coming off cooldown. So here's cast down. So you can see right here it's targeting. So there's a Solar Zealot. You can stun and CC him a bit. And also, if you're being carried off by him, you can attack him. So Lens Flare, again. A little messy, so we just move off to the side. I just have to watch behind us because that's a short. We're getting short, so we got to move him pretty soon. Okay, so here's cast down. There he is. Really burn him. There you go. Lens Flare, watch out. Okay, the fire's moved away. Gonna move him down over to the other side. Interrupt the shielding on that guy, please. Thank you. There it is. He's still dragging someone off.
Oh,
Phew.
thanks for saying that.
And so there's your loot. The nice thing about this is everything that drops here is 600. So we got some more cloth, which is good. And got a mail, which nobody can wear. So thanks for watching, everybody. That has been Skyreach. And it is the last dungeon you'll do before you hit 100. It goes from 97 to 100. So a good place to go ahead and get yourself geared up. It does require a 560 gear score, I should say item level, to get in. There also is a quest turn in here. So if you were doing a quest, here's your big raven. You can talk to him, and basically he can take you back down to the surface. So again, this is sort of how you get in from without using the raid finder. There's actually is a quest system that moves you through this. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. See ya.